Ma'at, justice, hotep, peace. I'm brother, minister, comrade, Mimut Nuhu with the All African People's Revolutionary Party, the House of Sankofa, Liberation Gardens, and the National Network on Cuba. Let me tell y'all, this message is going to be specifically to my street nations. Here in California, we're talking about the Bloods, the Crips, the Sureños, the Norteños, the Asian boys, the TRGs, Chewies. We're talking to all of y'all. I'm encouraging y'all to understand why and remember why y'all gangs were started. And let me be clear, if anybody thinks that this message is going to be a message to encourage people to give up gangs, you might as well go ahead and turn it off right now and go find something else to do, because that's not what this message is about. This message is for the sustaining of the gangs. Bloods, Crips, I'm going to speak more specifically to y'all because that's my background. Rolling with the Bloods and Crips where I grew up. So I'm not discounting the Norteños, the Sureños, as I mentioned earlier, the Asian boys, TRGs, and everybody else. Much respect to y'all. The Latin, as they call them, the Latin groups. No disrespect to y'all. I want to be very clear though, y'all. Us as African people in the hells of North America, we organized our gangs to protect ourselves from the terrorism that we was dealing with in our communities at the hands of the crackers. The police, the white supremacist groups. We organized gangs to protect our children, our women, our elders from the terrorism that we saw in our communities. Once we became successful, the crackers saw that as a form of insurgency. So what was their counterinsurgency plan? They brought in drugs, guns, and all kind of things to disrupt the unity that we had. There's stories about the government dropping trains off in our neighborhoods in LA all the way up to Hunters Point in San Francisco, where they were filling these trains up with drugs, money, and guns, then calling folks and saying, hey, I heard there's a shipment. If I was you, I'd be at that train track at such and such time. Our brothers and sisters went over there, saw those guns, drugs, and money, and they started snatching them up. Within a few months, we were at war with each other. Misinformation campaigns. Y'all listen, I'm going to be giving y'all information. The LA Rampart scandal, that's R-A-M-P-A-R-T. These crackers in uniforms would go and arrest a blood, pull them to the side, a well-known blood that the Crips and Bloods, everybody know. Put them in a van, tie him up, hog tie him, blindfold him. Then they would dress up in red rags, hop into that Blood's car, drive to the Crip neighborhood, shoot up at the Crips. And all the Crips like, hey, I thought we had a peace treaty. I thought we was cool. Why was such and such from that Blood gang in our neighborhood shooting? And then they would arrest a well-known Crip with that all-blue 6'4" Chevy with the switches, with the sign on the back. Everybody knew that Crip, well-known Crip, well-liked Crip. He was one of the people that helped orchestrate the troops. They snatched him up, put him in a van, dress up in all blue, hop in his car, drive to the Blood neighborhood, and start whopping at the Bloods. Now the Bloods like, hey, that's OG such and such shooting at us. I know that car. Why he shooting at us? Let's go get some get back. By the time we figure up that both the Blood and the Crip was in actual shackles in the back of a police van, it had already hit. The Bloods then retaliated, the Crips then retaliated, shot such and such mom, and by the time they figured it up, it's too late. Yeah, I hear that the police did that, but you shot my mom's, Blood. You shot my mom, cuz. It's too late. And so the truths that Dr. Kwame Ture and also Dr. Khalid Muhammad worked so hard to support the Bloods and the Crips, the OGs, in 91 to get the truce and not induce, it was the police that disrupted that. It was the media that disrupted that. I'm going to give y'all a fact. My brother, my oldest brother, he helped form a group called, well, I ain't even going to talk about that. He helped form a group. My brother helped form the group, and his mindset was to bring the Bloods, the Crips, the Sureños, the Asians, all of them together. And he did so. These were high school students, and they would do nothing but party and have a good time and increase the truce Because most, you know, and I know, most of the YGs are the ones out there doing the work. So if the YGs are in alignment with other YGs, they ain't shooting at each other. We was having rent parties. This was constructive. Somebody had issues with rent. They was having rent parties to make sure that such and such mama could pay the rent. So such and such mama didn't have to go out there and prostitute to sell drugs to pay the rent. Let's keep it 100. And if you from where I'm from, you know what I'm talking about. What they do though? I was sitting with my grandma, my auntie, my brothers, my mom. We was all sitting in on the east side of Long Beach, sitting having breakfast. We read the newspaper. Press telegram said very clear. Bloods jump Sureño gang member. So when the Sureños read this, they thinking, and the Crips read it, they like, damn little homie, you a Crip. What you in that blood gang for? They say, no, it's not a blood gang, it's just a group of us together. The Sureños ask them, what you doing with those Crips and those Bloods? Oh, we're not a gang, we're just a group together. We organize together. And so those OGs told the young folks, because of the misinformation in the newspaper, told them young folks, the Crips, the Sureños, the Asians, y'all can't roll with that group no more. You with us or you with them. And so their ties and their loyalty was to their gang, respectfully to their gang. What they didn't know was, the OGs or the young folks didn't know, that it was actually the government that was figuring up ways of counterinsurgency, figuring up ways to destroy that unity, that black, brown, and Asian unity that we saw in the communities. Cambodians, the blacks, the Africans, the indigenous folks, the Mexicans. We were all unified. The next week after that came out, they shot a homie in the head 4 times at 2:30 p.m. in front of Jefferson Middle School. Those of y'all who are watching this video who know what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. And the war was popping since then between the blacks and the browns. This is all things that they did to destroy our unity. So I'm saying, y'all, don't forget your origins and your roots and your gangs. The Sureños started their gangs to defend themselves from the crackers. They didn't start their gangs to defend themselves from the blacks, the Africans. The Africans and the blacks, we didn't start our gangs to defend ourselves from the Asians or the indigenous folks. The Asians didn't start their gangs to defend themselves from the Africans or the indigenous folks. They was defending themselves from the crackers. Now, of course, some of us was treating one another wrong and all that. It wasn't a culture, it wasn't a gang culture to go target them. Nah, we was targeting the enemy, the police, and the white power structure. Remember your origins is all I'm saying. Keep recruiting. Yet when you recruit these young brothers and these young sisters into the gang, give them the real topic. Talk to them about unity. My prayer for the Bloods and the Crips, Sureños, and everybody else is to find something to unify under. For Bloods and Crips as Africans, as a part of the Pan-African movement, I say keep your red flag, Blood, and put your red, black, and green flag at the bottom of your bandana to show your alliance to the Pan-African global movement. And Crips, keep your blue flag flying, cuz. Keep that bandana flying, cuz. And then put that red, black, and green flag on the bottom in that corner to show your alliance to the revolutionary Pan-African movement. We gonna need y'all the same way we need y'all, y'all need us. We need to unite to stand up against our enemy. You know what your enemy is. You've been locked down, I've been locked down. You know what time it is when you get in those damn walls. You know how they operate. You know who put you in them shackles. You know who they got working to keep you in those shackles. The same when we was in slavery, you had the slave master who was a white man, and you had the slave driver who most times was a black man. Well, now the COs are the slave drivers, y'all. The slave master is the warden. Same deal, different time. 2020, we in it right now. Red, black, and green, y'all. Red, this is the Pan-African flag. Red, black, and green. Red is for the blood of our people that's been spilled when we were fighting these wars of resistance, when we were fighting against terrorism. For our ancestors, for our sisters who went while they was bleeding and still stood on the front line with a baby on her back, with an AK-47 in her hand, throughout the continent. The black is for the people. And the eyes that we see out of black eyes. The green is for the land that was stolen. You can't have no revolution without no land. So that's what we calling for, red, black, and green. Unity, the global Pan-African movement. We are inviting the Bloods and the Crips. We understand the importance that y'all have. And we pray that y'all allow us to be a part of what y'all doing. We have got to organize. Y'all have skills that all these revolutionaries sitting in a chair talking about we need to do this, need to do that. We understand what happened in Rosewood and Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had good ideas and good plans, yet we didn't have no military base to support those ideas and plans. Yet y'all been out there training for a long time. We gonna need y'all. We gonna need y'all to suit up. Y'all got heart. Y'all got way more heart than a lot of folks out here talking about they want to see change. They want to bring change. I got a brother serving triple life. He patrolled the block. His mindset was, I'm patrolling the block right now. Mutt, I'm not finna go to this party. I'm not going to this party. I'm like, why, man? There's sisters over there. You know, such and such going to be over there. We're going to have fun. Got the drink. Blah, 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 blah. He like, nah, cuz. Listen, if I go to that party and I don't get out there and roll on the enemy, tomorrow that same enemy that I didn't get tonight might get my mama or your brother or my sister. That was his mindset. He just didn't understand who the real enemy was. He only was able to look at it from a close view, that in the hood, this is who the enemy is. But overall, the enemy from the bird's eye view was these crackers. Yet they catch us when we're young and we don't fully develop our psyche, we don't fully develop our intellect on how this is all working. So by the time we figure it out, we already behind the bars. I'm going to try to post a message from my brother and put on here that I'm talking about so he can say something to y'all. Until then, for real, me as a Pan-African, me as a revolutionary, those who are watching this video who know me out in LA, know me out here in the Bay, y'all know what time it is. I've been on the front line for a long time. I love my people. I'm not going to sit here and turn my back on y'all because y'all doing X, Y, and Z. Shit, if I'm sitting here turning my back on y'all because of y'all actions, we need to be turning our back on this whole goddamn country. These people enslaved our folks. I ain't never seen no Bloods and Crips enslaving my whole community. I ain't never seen no Bloods and Crips raping my whole community. Yet this system has. So I'm not against the Bloods and Crips. I'm against this system. I may not agree with everything the Bloods and Crips do, and that's keeping it 100. That's a part of political education. That's a part of growing. That's a part of learning. And y'all ain't going to agree 100% on what we do. And that's why we got to sit at the table and have this discussion and figure out where that balance is at. So we can come together, unify, and ride against the real enemy. Revolutionary salute from Brother Mimut. Rari Nuhu, comrades, gangsters, revolutionaries. Let's all get together, sit down, and figure this shit up sooner than later. Like I said, I respect Gil Scott-Heron. He said we either gonna unify on our own or unity will be forced upon us like unity was forced upon us when we was on the bottom of them goddamn slave ships. I'd rather unify in a hood meeting at a park talking versus being in a goddamn concentration camp. Let's come together, y'all. Get together and fight against the system to protect our elders, our children, and our folks, our community, our neighborhood, and let's take Africa back. Africa for the Africans. Revolutionary salute. Much love, y'all. Stay strong. Justice.